Welcome back, everybody, to High Heel Diaries YouTube talk show. I'm your host, Natalie Wilson, and I thank you so much for coming back again to spend some time with me and my lovely guests sharing their stories. We are women inspiring women, one story at a time. So, it's almost 2 years since the beginning of COVID time. And this COVID life has been something else for everybody. Maybe more for some than others, those who have been touched by it, but not one of us have not been affected by it. But I just hope that you're breathing through it, you're praying through it, even laughing and crying through it, because sometimes at the end of the day, all you can do is laugh about it, because if not, it's just so heavy. But be real with yourself, be real with the situation, and deal with it the best way you can. All right? Just my little 2 cents. Remember, the idea of High Heel Diaries, the premise of High Heel Diaries, and the interviews that I bring to you with my special guests is to inform, to empower, and to inspire. Now, if you have a story that you want to share, please reach out to me, email me, go onto my website, send me a message, and let me know if you want to talk and share your story with others as a way of empowering and inspiring them to get through their struggles and to live their best life. So without further ado, I'm so honored to be sitting here beside this beautiful woman. God brought her to me today on this Sunday. He's bringing her to you through me, through herself, and through him in order to share her story with us. And please welcome Miss Nadine L. Spencer.
Hi, everybody.
Miss Spencer. All right, how you doing, honey?
I'm good.
Good.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm happy you're here.
I'm honored.
Good. I'm so happy you're here. And I'm thanking you right now for coming out on a Sunday, because I know it's a day of rest and staying home with your lovely family. But when a sister's got a million things going on throughout the week, sometimes a Sunday is all I can do. So thank you so much for coming out. So I want to break the ice a little bit and just loosen things up, loosey-goosey. A few icebreaker questions, okay?
Okay, go for it.
So, if you can find one thing out about your future using a crystal ball, what would it be that you would want to know?
How well my upcoming business does.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How it's gonna come, how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much money am I gonna make? Yeah, just keep it real.
You gotta live, huh?
Yeah.
Gotta live.
I don't want to just live, I want to thrive.
Yes.
Because I want to be able to help other people.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to thrive. I don't want to just live. I
Yeah.
don't want to just be. Like, overflow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said. For sure. Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear about, or to see what that's going to be like, too. I know we've talked about that before, so I'm so excited. We even had a little chit-chat about it today and the things that you have in the works, so I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
So you have to wear a t-shirt for a year with one word on it. I know you got a t-shirt on right now. It's got 2 words on it. But, okay, one word. What would that word be?
Fearless.
Mm-hmm. Tell me why.
Because I've lived most of my life in fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning to live fearlessly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always easy.
Mm-hmm.
It takes courage.
Yeah. I was going to ask, what does that mean to you? What is
it? It takes courage. It means being afraid, being scared, but still moving, still doing, still being.
Yeah. It's about that vulnerability too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people look at vulnerability as weak sometimes, and I think it's the biggest way you can show your strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. And I know you have a t-shirt that says fearless on it.
And I was almost going to wear it. I wasn't sure, so.
That's a High Heel Diaries thing, y'all. I have t-shirts that, it's in the cabinet right here, but I'll show it later. Fearless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unstoppable. She conquered. Fearless. She conquered. Unstoppable her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Good. They're such powerful words.
Yeah.
Awesome. If you could give one sentence advice about how to live life, what would it be?
Live your life in truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In truth.
Be honest. Don't keep secrets. They will be revealed. the good book says, what is done in darkness will come to light. And so I really believe that honesty and truth is important.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Without it, it can damage your life, actually.
Yeah. So say that one sentence again.
What did I say?
Live your life in truth.
Live your life in truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I like that. All right. So you have a very lovely family. I've been graced by some of the presence of a few of them. Your son Shamar.
Yeah.
He's so sweet. We did a walk, my breast cancer fundraising walk in August, and Nadine was there and she spoke, and her son, scrounged out all of his little change that he had to donate towards breast cancer survivors, and he put it in an envelope.
And I showed up with it.
Oh,
literally, it was
so
just coin.
sweet.
And it was so heavy.
Yes. And I couldn't even take it and add it to the rest of the donations. I had to keep it in an envelope, and I wrote a note on it with his note inside of it. And I'll keep that forever. I'll keep that forever. Right. So tell me a little bit about your family. Tell me your children, their names.
Okay, so I have 7 children. The oldest is Shanice. Then there's Shay. Then there's Jonathan. Then there's Shakira. Shamar. Yeah. Shalise. Shalom.
Lovely names. Right. And where did the SH come from? How did you... is it only because you named your first child with an SH name?
So I didn't mean for it to happen like that, but what happened was I named Shanice after the singer Shanice, because my favorite song was I Love Your Smile. So I didn't know a girl's name, so yeah. So that's how she got her name. And then I thought I was this brilliant person who created the name Shay. Yeah, I wasn't. I'm not. So then... Jonathan, his name is very unique. When Shay was about 3 years old, I told Shay I was pregnant, and Shay said to me, I know you're going to have a boy and you're going to name him Jonathan. And I was like, okay. So I ended up phoning my mom and telling her. My mom said, write down the date he said it, 3 months to that date, ask him again, but make sure he's playing. Make sure he's busy. He's doing something. It just so happened I had a whole bunch of friends over, and they were playing tag, because my apartment at the time was really big. So a bunch of children were just playing tag. So I remembered, and I said, hey Shay, I'm having a baby. And he goes, yeah, it's going to be a boy. And he runs by.
How old is he?
He's like 3 or 4. And then I went, okay, I didn't get to finish. But then he heard what I said, and he runs back and he goes, his name's going to be Jonathan, gotta go. Pew! And he was gone.
Oh my goodness.
And sure enough, when I brought Jonathan home, I said to him, Shay, I have a little sad news. He goes, what? I go, I had a girl. And he looked at me He looked at me very straight faced, and he said, that's my Jonathan. And Jonathan, a newborn baby, giggled. Literally giggled. And I was like, wow.
There you go.
And Jonathan's name is a very Gaelic, very powerful name. I wasn't able to find his actual name, Jonathan, but just Sean itself. Just really, really powerful. And I want to say that Shay had never heard the name Jonathan. So it's not to say he heard Jonathan and put a sh on it. Right?
Okay, I see.
So
how it happened.
that was that. And then Shakira, how Shakira's name came to be is one of my bucket lists was to play Mass in Trinidad. And I didn't play Mass, but I was able to do the drink truck.
Okay.
Right? So I was like a bartender, but it was amazing. There was like 3,000 people in our group, and the group's name was Shakira. So when I found out I was pregnant, and I had a girl. Yeah. Oh yeah, I had to.
Did you have fun there?
Oh my goodness, girl.
I've never been. I've been to Trinidad once.
I am so grateful to God. Honestly, I got to do that.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, you are up from sun.
I hear.
Up till sun.
My sister-in-law does it
up.
all the time. I've never gone. My husband is Trinidadian.
So
I've never played Mass in Trinidad. I've done it here in Canada, Toronto, but it's nothing compared to what I hear is there.
No.
Yeah, it's like no sleep, no rest for the wicked.
Girl. And if you're like, you know, me being Torontonian and a big wuss, I get there the first day. I think I slept for 2 days straight, and everyone asks me, "You good?" I go, "I'm good. It's just the heat, man." It's just the heat.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah.
Different kind of heat.
So, Shamar. I love Shamar more. So that's where Shamar came
Who doesn't?
I'm not gonna lie, ladies and gentlemen. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And then for Charlize, I love the name Charlize. For Charlize Theron, the actress.
Yes.
So I thought, let's just
little
throw
spin
a
on it.
Shaw on it. So Charlize.
Very beautiful.
And then for Shalom, I just love the word Shalom. It means peace.
Yeah.
And
I love that. I love the way it sounds.
Yeah, Shalom.
Yeah, for sure. I love it.
Thank you.
Well, there's meaning to all their names. If you can tell me the one thing that you would say was the most poignant thing that you've learned, that it's important to implement into parenting in order to, you know, raise your children right.
You said one thing, right?
Yeah, just give me one thing. Like the thing that you would say is your go-to.
It has to be encouraging them and lifting them up. With COVID, man, they've just, you know, self-esteem gone, confidence gone. So I constantly tell them they're brilliant. And they'll look at me.
Words of affirmation.
Yeah. They'll go, no. I go, you are. But I don't feel, it's not a feeling. It's a stance, it's a being. Right? You'll grow into it. You'll grow into it. So yeah, encouraging your children is important. They need to hear their parents say positive things to them.
I remember when I was pregnant with my first daughter, and I was reading all those what to expect when you're expecting, what to expect the first year.
I never read any of those books.
I read those books like they were my Bibles.
Right.
And I remember one thing that stands out all these years later, and Morgan's now 22. I still remember there was a part in one of the books, I can't remember if it was a taller one or not, that said, don't just say no to your children. Give them options. And I swear I live by that when I want to say no to my children. I think, okay, even if I say no and I walk away, I go back. I'm like, okay, but you can't do this, but this is what you can do, or this is what I'd like to see you do, or let's talk about it, right? Let's have some options here.
Right.
So I think it's important to allow them to be themselves and to have a voice.
Yeah.
And I thought that was one thing that stood out for me, because there's nothing worse than, and I think a lot of women, especially coming back from where we're coming from back in the day, we were always silenced.
Oh yeah, children should be seen but not heard.
Right? As women were, right?
Yep.
And I thought, especially with a girl child, like I want her to have her voice. I want her to speak her mind and speak how she feels and speak about what she thinks would be the best thing for her. And as a parent, of course, we guide them in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
So share with me the experience of being a mom for the first time.
Oh, wow. Okay. To be very honest, I had just finished college when I found out. No, I was just almost finishing college when I found out I was pregnant. I was living on my own, and I was like, oh, gosh. At first, things were okay. I ended up moving back home. That became a very hard struggle. And that was kind of where I was.
So it's difficult.
Extremely difficult.
So obviously there were some things going on there at home that you didn't feel that you were able to talk about it with your parents, and I want to talk about that in a moment briefly. But now having your first little human being, your own, to love, how did that change things for you? Like, I know I want you to kind of correlate that to your if you will, your upbringing, your living situation with your parents, being raised by them, your siblings. So just talk to me a little bit about how that was, and how now having a child of your own, how that changed you.
Well, when my mom had my brother, I was 16, and she had to go back to work, and she was trying to figure out who could look after him. So I did. So we moved him into my room and everything, and I looked after him. And I looked after him so much that when I had my first child, it was easy. Like, the day I had her, I asked the nurse to bring me stuff to bathe her. And the nurse was shocked. She's like, no, you can't bathe her. I go, yeah, I can. And I bathed her, put her in her own clothes, and put her back into the little bassinet. And the nurse was shocked.
And you were how old again?
I was 23. So having my first child by myself was not a shock, because I was used to looking after my brother and my younger sister. Being at home, I came from a very dysfunctional home, sadly, where communication was not something that happened. I would sit in a room with my parents, and I would be the one to be talking, and they would answer, and that was it. There was no, how are you? What things do you like? What do you like to do? It was kind of just, oh yeah, you're there. And so when I had my daughter, and knowing the circumstances and everything surrounding her, I didn't want that for her. I wanted to make sure we had a good relationship. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, I was very angry. Angry where my parents were concerned, angry with where her father was concerned. So I wasn't the best mother. Really had no patience.
Well, under your circumstances, you didn't do as well as you could have. No, under different circumstances.
Yeah, but mind you, my child was always clean. Where I lived was always clean. My child ate very well, and I taught her how to do things and stuff like that. So
yeah. So you had a challenging life growing up, and I think what happens with that, especially when you start to have your own family, is that you either repeat the same patterns or you're adamant about doing the opposite. Or you try your best anyways to do the opposite, right? Yeah,
for me, I did repeat some of the negative patterns. Just having no patience sometimes. Sometimes even saying hurtful things like, oh, just leave me alone, I've got stuff to do. And, not realizing this little person is like, hey, what is all that about,
Well, it's big of you to be able to acknowledge that, though, right? And you obviously can acknowledge that. Yes. But I gather that down the road as you had more children, and it could be through having more of a faith-based relationship too, that you've changed.
Yes, and that really helped me too. Helped open my eyes. Yeah. And being able to meet other women who were faith-based, who had gone where I was and survived it. I was able to ask them, well, how did you do this and how did you do that? So that was really good.
So thanks for sharing. Sometimes talking about your upbringing is not the easiest thing, because it brings back some difficult memories, right? But I think it's important to acknowledge that, because it's a part of your journey, part of your life, and truly a part of what makes you who you are. Yeah. Whether it's for the because of those circumstances, because they were so difficult, and that you've changed, right? It helps to sculpt you.
Yeah.
So we're here, the new year, 2022. Just less than a year ago, quite less than a year ago, actually, you got a phone call and you learned some news that would turn your life upside down and change the landscape of things going forward for you. Can you share that with me?
I can.
And with everybody?
I can. So on June 5th, 2021, my husband got a phone call. And the phone call went like this, that my son, 21-year-old Jonathan Joanne Spencer, drowned. He had gone to a cottage with some friends and had gotten into a canoe and went out into the water, and the water got choppy. And basically the canoe tipped. But just before the canoe tipped, there were 3 people in the canoe, by the way, and just before it tipped, I think Jonathan knew he may die. And he said to his friend, please tell my mom that I love her very much. My car and everything that belongs to me is hers. And about maybe a couple seconds after he said that, the canoe tipped. And His friend, she was able to swim and make it back to shore, call the police and everything like that. And so when I first heard the words, Jonathan may have drowned, these were my exact words. Okay, God, if this is true, then you have to hold me together. And that was it. And the day progressed, and sure enough, he was gone.
I've heard you speak of this many times, but it's you know, when you hear something over and again, and then sometimes you just really think of the gravity of it. And I'm, you know, just this person, you know, didn't have a relationship with him. You're his mom. And I can't imagine that phone call. I can't imagine getting that call and how that's changed your life. I met you, I think less than 3 months, less than 2 months after that, because I remember being so taken aback.
It was 3 weeks. No, it was 6 weeks after.
6 weeks, yeah. I was so taken, I was like so shocked that I was hearing you speak so strongly and eloquently, and you were ministering to me and to those around us about what you went through. But you spoke like this happened 10 years ago. Like,
I remember.
I was so in shock that I was hearing you, this woman, speak of her son. And it's not at all to say for a lack of you feeling emotion. It's because what you just said, that you know God was carrying you.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's the only way you're able to speak of that. The way you did.
Only way.
So, I mean, when you get that phone call and your husband tells you what he tells you, and you're hearing all the conversation pieces and the hustling and bustling, all that's going on, are you truly resonating with the fact that you will no longer see your son? Did that truly, like, when did that actually resonate? Or has it?
That evening, where I live, there's a Rex Hall Plaza. And that evening, news got out, and people started collecting there. So I went out, and one of his friends drove his car, which is a Subaru.
Jonathan's car.
Yeah, which is a Subaru WRX, which was his dream car, and he got it at 19.
Sorry, how old was Jonathan?
21. When I saw the car come into the parking lot, that's when it hit. And when the car stopped, I just went over to the hood and I just laid on it and hugged it. And at that point I said, okay, God, it's me and you. And the parking lot had about 100 people in it. Natalie, about 100 young people, and they were broken, they were crying, they couldn't breathe, they couldn't, and I hugged all of them. And I said, don't cry. I said, remember him. His motto was, push through. No matter how hard it gets, push through. And that's what I told all of those individuals. You, as a mother who just lost her child, are there telling these children that. And I was going to ask you that next about Jonathan. What was he like? What were his dreams and aspirations? He was a clown. He was a joker. Very loving, very kind. Very kind. During COVID, he said, Mama, so he would call me, I want to be a barber. I'm like, all right.
Do you have a picture of him? I know your phone. Okay, your phone is out there. Okay, it's okay. No, I'll find it. Go, you talk.
And
I have it.
I said, okay, all right. And he goes, yeah. And that was it. he watched YouTube videos on barbering. I'm going to say a week straight. When he wasn't working, that's what he was doing. And he started cutting hair.
Okay.
And he got really good at it, really good. So then he started his company called Spencer Fades. And he started, when him and I were talking.
I like that name.
Mm-hmm. When him and I were talking, I said, you need to start doing merchandise. And so he did. Mm-hmm. And I should have actually worn one of his shirts, not thinking about it.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was one thing he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. He also wanted us to have a family business where we would flip houses and invest. So
he had such big aspirations, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And do you think that I know you guys are starting, or you're trying to keep alive some of them, so you have the cookie making business?
Yes, it's right? Jonathan's Sugar Cookies.
And that's on Instagram.
Yes, we started that. In fact, we're working on our Valentine's Day sampler, so that we'll have that up between today and tomorrow. I'm just waiting for the boxes. And
I'm going to try to show this picture, this beautiful man. Her son, Jonathan. Let me say this way. Oh boy. Wait a second. See that? It's a beautiful human.
Yeah.
We love you, Jonathan. Yeah. So the cookie business. Yes.
Yeah, so he loved cookies. He loved homemade cookies. Like, you'd make them, they'd be on the tray, and I'd always have to say, don't touch it, it's hot.
Yes, but that's when they're the best.
And he would just look at me and go, okay, Mama. And then he'd come, and I'd fall for it every time. He'd tap me here. So I'd look. There's nobody here. There's a wall beside me, but not thinking. He's on this side. He's tapped me here, taking the cookie and run. So I was sitting and thinking, how can we honor him?
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, through doing cookies.
Yeah.
So we're just starting. Sometimes it's a hot mess, but it's okay.
That's okay.
I want people to see what it's like to start.
Yeah.
Because you know what? A lot of us don't start because we think it has to be
perfect. And then what if I fail?
And
yeah.
You know, I'm not posting on there every day. I think it's maybe been a little over a week since I've posted, but it's not about anything more than Jonathan.
Yeah.
When something comes to me or to my children, we'll post it.
Good.
So you'll get to know him.
Yeah.
And you'll love him.
That's a good way.
Like
That's a good way to keep him alive.
And yeah, and you'll get to see some really cool cookies.
Yes, I want to taste some of them.
Yeah,
actually,
I know.
I did at the baby shower.
Yes.
So
that's actually where it all started.
So good.
It's
yes.
so funny. Yeah.
So we talked about this already when you said that you spoke to his friends that came out the night that he passed, and with the love that you see that everybody had for him, isn't that amazing?
It is. There was a vigil done.
Yeah.
2 days later.
Yeah. What does that say about him? What does that say about him? Right?
That he is loved. I know a lot of people speak about loved ones who've passed as a was. Jonathan still is for me and my family.
Yeah. So I want to give a few stats because it was a canoeing accident, correct?
Yes, it was up north.
So I tried to print this off, y'all, but I couldn't. So I'm just going to read it here. So I'll read it off in a moment. But Jonathan wasn't a swimmer.
Nope.
And so, I mean, I can only imagine what went through your mind and your heart and your soul knowing that this young man of mine was out there in the water in the dark, right? Without a life vest, and he can't swim. So part of you's got to feel like you want to shake your head and say, God, this shouldn't have happened.
And
right?
I did.
And it did,
and
of course,
did, yeah.
Right? But with that, and why I'm bringing that up is that I think a lot of young people, a lot of adults, they take these chances, and I don't think they realize, okay, well, the water's shallow. Water is such a beast.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
they take the chance because in their head, I'm not going to die today.
Yeah. So this is from the Canadian Red Cross. Boating fatalities in Canada. Every year, approximately 525 Canadians die needlessly in unintentional water-related fatalities. More than 57% of incidents occur during the summer months. On average, there are 166 deaths a year from boating-related incidents. More than 24% of boating fatalities occur when a life jacket is present on board but not worn. Alcohol is present or suspected in more than 50% of boating fatalities. Wearing a life jacket could eliminate up to 90% of all boating-related drownings. And I'm reading these things off because, you know, I like our interviews to be informative as well as inspirational and empowering. But I want, you know, those who are leaving to take information with you. If you are a young person yourself and you know that you are one of these people, remember this for the next time. Men aged 15 to 44 are at the highest risk of boating-related fatalities. Okay? Life jackets must be worn to save lives. Yes. So I found that and I thought it was really important to read out those stats, right? So that to leave some information with some people.
Yeah.
Wear your life vests. So parents who experience the death of a child would become more likely to report depressive symptoms. So we're going to talk about you. Poor psychological well-being, health problems, limited social participation, marital disruption, and limited occupational success. All of these issues can persist long after a child's death and may lead to a diagnosed psychiatric condition such as complicated grief disorder, which can include many symptoms similar to post-traumatic stress disorder. How are you getting through this?
One day at a time. There are days that I cry. There are days I tear up. There are days I get frustrated.
Yeah.
Not at Jonathan, but I'm frustrated because I have other children that are angry, that are melting down. One day, you know, the next day they're good, and sometimes for weeks they're great. Thank God. I think the hardest part of this, Natalie, and to you, the guests, the audience, is when you say goodbye to a child and you have other children. And my children are so compassionate. Like, I think I hear this at least, and I'm not exaggerating, probably 10 to 12 times a day. Mommy, you okay? Mommy, you good? Mommy, okay? You all right? And my answer is always yes, yes, yes. And so I'm glad for that.
Do you ever say no?
Yes, I did today, actually.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I did today.
Because I think that's important.
I did today. Yeah. But every time I said yes, I was okay. I actually was.
Okay.
I was. I maybe felt a little teary, but I was okay. The only time I say no is if I'm physically just really not feeling well, which I wasn't earlier today. And I was thinking of Jonathan. So I think the two tied in with each other. But keeping yourself in a place where you're not downtrodden because you don't want your children, because they're looking at me to see, is she going to lose it? Am I going to find her on the floor? Is she not coping with this?
Yeah.
Because I think in the back of their minds, they're also coping to make sure I'm okay. Right?
Right.
And I'm coping to make sure they're okay. Yeah. So, yes, I do have my moments of sadness. I do.
Of course. And how can you not? Like, I mean, how could you not? But I've never lost a child that has been around. I lost a baby when I was 4 months pregnant. I lost my sister when she was 24 years old to gun violence. My uncle who had brain tumors, my grandfather, like I've gone through that, but losing a child, I can't understand that. Like I can't understand what my mom feels, you know? I tear up when I think of the prospect of it, of course. But there obviously has to be higher forces
Yes.
working in order to walk and carry you daily, to keep you afloat, to wake you up in the morning, to help you raise those children that you still have, you know, to bring you here today to be speaking to others about it, right? Like if you were to allow the circumstances that are what they are, having lost your child, to really just, you live in that moment, you would be a hot mess, obviously.
Can I be real? I'd be dead.
You'd be dead.
If I can just be honest. Sorry, but I'm just being
so
very honest.
powerful.
I'd be dead.
That's
And
so powerful.
my faith in God, and I'm not talking sitting in a church with pews and other people. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when I'm by myself and I just say, God, I don't know how this is all going to play out, but I know the day that I heard my son was gone, I felt you hold me in a way. I can't put words in English.
This was the Nadine that I met. Okay.
I wish I spoke a different language.
Yes.
Because I can't tell you. There was a strength. There was a power. There was a peace that surpasses all understanding. And even though I cry, I think I do get depressed. I get kind of quiet. But then all of a sudden, it's like a whoosh. And there's that peace that blankets me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't blanket me that I'm numb. And I'm, what's the word? Oh, goodness. You know, there are people that go through things and it's almost like they didn't go through anything. I'm not doing that. I'm feeling
acknowledging
everything and acknowledging everything. But there's that peace and protection that comes from only God.
Amen. Yes. It has to be Him. Yeah, because like you said, if you were to really, you know, live in the moment of having lost your child that you carried and raised for 21, how old?
21
years, and he's no longer here. And to think of the reality of that would break anybody. Right? So, and that was, you know, the question was a general question, but I'm glad that you answered and gave the info that you gave as to how you're making it, because it's not through you alone.
Girl. Please don't get it twisted. And can I say something for the record? I'm not strong. I'm not. I keep hearing that. I want you to understand the strength that you see, okay, is the strength through me from God alone. It really is.
And it's amazing how when you go through your trouble sometimes, how you manage and you wonder how, and then you get up. And that's why I say, you don't know the strength until you've gone through the struggle. You don't know your strength, because when you look at it later and you look at what you went through, and when people start saying to you, "You're so strong, how did you manage that?" You're like, I don't even know. You do know, but you do know that it's not through your own doing.
None.
Right?
Zero.
And then if you were to look at what you've come through, how could you not have faith? How could you not believe that there is some higher power, that there is a God or another a higher power, whatever your faith might be, helping you along?
I tell people straight out, if you ever doubted that there is a God, talk to me. Because I'm walking, living, breathing example of His presence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
What about friends, family? How they helped you?
Family, zero. And when I say family, I don't mean my closest, like my children, my husband. I'm talking about parents and extended and whatever.
That's challenging, but yeah.
Friends, a few chosen friends have really been there. What's amazing is Jonathan's friends, his close-knit group of friends that he worked with and hung out with the last year and a bit before he passed. They have been like my second set of children. He has two really close brothers, friends. They're like his brothers.
Still checking in.
And Christian and Emmanuel. I call them my sons, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They check in on me all the time, and the children and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hardest part going through this is when every stage of, I don't want to say every stage of your life, but people you hoped would be there
Mm-hmm.
are not.
Mm-hmm.
I've had friends literally say to me months later that I didn't reach out because I didn't know what to say. And for any of you that find yourself in this situation, this is exactly what you say.
Mm-hmm.
You call the person up and you say, hi,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say to you. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
it.
But you called. That's the
Exactly.
important part.
And that's it. And so many people I've not heard from.
Yeah.
And people that I thought would have been there have not been there.
Yeah.
And I'm not questioning them. I'm not even calling to find out what's going on.
Yeah, and you know, I want to share something on that topic because I've, and I don't want to be too long about it, but I've learned a lot about that whole topic of conversation. And I've learned, not that they apologize for it, because what I'm saying is I've learned to forgive them, but not because they came to me and said, I'm sorry that I wasn't there. I've learned to just let it go because I've learned that grief and support comes in so many different forms, and the way people grieve and the way they show their support comes in so many different forms.
Yeah.
And I think when people don't know what to say, they shut down. They shut down. It's like
They vanish.
They shut down. They're thinking more about how they're feeling than how you're feeling. And they don't know what they're feeling is that they don't know what to say to you, and they don't want to say the right thing.
But there is no right thing.
There is no right thing, but they don't know this. They don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yes, sorry. There is no wrong thing.
There is no wrong thing.
Yeah.
They don't want to say the wrong thing, so the best thing for them is not to say anything at all. But what you can do is call that person and not say anything at all.
Exactly.
Like you just said. You can go to that person's side and be with them and not say anything at all. And I've always said that I appreciate those that through my journey, through breast cancer and all the struggles that I've gone through, and the surgeries, the 22 surgeries, I appreciated those who just came and sat by my bedside, brought me up a soup, sat and watched TV with me, you know, held my hand as I cried, whatever it was, just be there in their silence was enough for me.
Be.
And I think that's what we want those who are struggling with what to say or what to do for people in circumstances like this to understand. Still reach out.
Yeah.
Reach out, drop off a card, drop off flowers, just show that you are thinking about them. All right? It's that's all. But yeah, thank you for sharing that, because you know, you also learn how to do take the weed whacker,
Girl.
and get rid of those friends that I thought were really the friends that I thought they would be at a time like this are not really there. And not because not because of, again, what we just discussed, that they didn't know what to say, but they truly do love you. But there are those who have shown their face in ways that you know at that time that you are not whom I need you to be at this time. And I can't go through my life pretending that I'm okay with it. So for now, I'm going to allow you to step aside, or I'm going to put you aside so that I can continue to get on my healing journey.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about right now. It's about you and your healing journey.
100%.
So I want to take a moment to go over a few things that I found on kidshealth.org, because I want to talk about your children and how they're making their way through this. There are here are some things parents can do to help a child who has lost a loved one. Use simple words to talk about death. Because you have children that are varying ages, right?
Yes.
So they're all going to understand this and accept this differently. Be calm and caring when you tell your child that someone has died. Use words that are clear and direct. Listen and comfort. Every child reacts in their own way when they learn that a loved one has died. Some kids cry, some ask questions, others seem not to react at all.
Yeah.
It's okay if your child sees your sadness or tears. Put your feelings into words. Help them put their feelings into words. Ask kids to say what they're thinking and feeling. Label some of your own feelings. This makes it easier for kids to share theirs. Tell your child what to expect. And some of this you may know, maybe not. I'm giving some information that I think could help. Tell your child what to expect. If the death of a loved one means changes in your child's life or routine, explain what will happen. This helps your child to feel prepared. Explain events that will happen. Allow children to join in rituals like viewings, funerals, memorial services. Tell them ahead of time what will happen. Explain the burial or cremation of the person's body in a casket. Share your family's beliefs about what happens to a person's soul or spirit after death. Explain what will happen after the service. Number 6, give your child a role. Having a small active role lets your kids feel part of things and helps them cope. Feel a part of things and helps them to cope. You might invite your child to read a poem, pick a song to be played, gather some photos to display, or make something. Let kids decide if they want to take part and how. Help your child to remember the person. In the days and weeks ahead, encourage your child to draw pictures or write down stories of their loved one. Don't avoid talking about the person who passed. Sharing happy memories helps to heal and to grieve. Give comfort and reassure your child. Notice if your child seems sad, worried, or upset in other ways. Ask about feelings and listen. Let your child know that it takes time to feel better after a loved one dies. Some kids may have trouble sleeping or have fears or worries. Let kids know these things will get better. Give them extra time and care. Support groups and counseling can help kids who need more support. Help your child to feel better. Provide the comfort your child needs, but don't dwell on sad feelings. After a few minutes of talking and listening, shift to an activity or topic that helps your child feel a little better. Play, make art, cook, or go somewhere together. Give your child time to heal from loss. Number 10. Grief is a process that happens over time. Be sure to talk often and listen to see how your child is feeling and doing. Hearing doesn't mean forgetting about your loved one. It means remembering the person with love. And number 11. Get more help if needed. If the loved one's death was sudden, deeply stressful, or violent, a child may need therapy to help them heal. Yeah. If your child's distress lasts for more than a few weeks, or if you think your family needs more help, talk with your child's doctor. So very important ways and helpful ways that a parent can help their child. Because every child is different, like it's said, and I understand this from my own experience with my sister, how we all dealt with it differently, right? And my mom was dealing with the way she needed to. It was we were adults, right? So we were dealing with it as we knew best as an adult. So we didn't put it upon our mom to help support us, right? Because my mom, I feel, needed the most support. I mean, I feel that she needed the most support, right? So any of these things resonate with you?
Yeah. So my children are all in therapy, and not just because, to be very honest with you, it's not even so much because of Jonathan's passing, but just because of COVID being at school online, just a lot of it. And then him passing just kind of was like, man, it was like the hammer that just crushed everything, and I just said, okay. And so they're doing well. So I'm so grateful to God for this, because I prayed and I said, God, please listen. I know you got me, but please have them too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they need it, you know? Yeah. And if I can just be really honest right now, some of my children are struggling with who God is right now because of Jonathan passing. And I'll be very real with you. I just say to them, listen, and this is me talking to them, I said, if I didn't have God, I wouldn't be here. If I didn't have the relationship I have and the faith I have in God, I don't know if I'd be able to help you.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So I get it, you're hurt. I get it, you're angry. I do. And the things you're saying, I don't have the answers for. And I'm not going to try to. I just go to God and I say, God, you're hearing what they're saying. You know, their faith is dwindling. And I need you just to come in tangibly and speak to them.
Yeah,
because there's nothing I can say to them.
Yeah.
But the one thing they can't deny, and I've said it to all of them, is you've seen God through me. And they've all said, yes, we have, Mom, we have.
And how He's held you up through this.
Yes. And so I leave it there.
Yeah.
I leave it there. At first it was hard to hear them say, I'm angry at him, you know. How could God do this? Like, God doesn't care about our family, you know. And I was like, at first I'm like, wanting to defend God. And then I realized, no.
It's okay to have those feelings.
It's okay to have those feelings. Exactly. Yeah. I think I was more scared that they would, I don't know, go do something silly or crazy or whatever, you know. I mean, just the mother in me. But then I just had to say, God, they're yours before they're mine.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. It's amazing how, you know, you the things that you end up saying, because sometimes you're like, I don't even know what to say in this circumstance right now. And especially because you have, you know, a few of them. It's like they're all dealing with it differently. It's like, I have to deal with this one in this way and this one in that way and say this to this person, this child, right? But you're doing it.
By the grace of God.
By the grace of God, right? Absolutely. So how, I mean, obviously life has changed since that fateful day. How, and like, what are you more careful of, more cognizant of? Like, what has changed since you've lost Jonathan?
Okay. About 2 years prior to Jonathan passing, I myself felt like I was dying. Just going through a lot of things in my life, things personally, things within my family, and
so you felt hopeless. You felt
completely hopeless. And it's so funny because my name's Nadine, and my name means hope. How funny is that, right? And I just kind of started to give up. I didn't care, and
a natural feeling in life in general. We're allowed to go through those ups and downs.
Felt alone, felt misunderstood. And I remember many times Jonathan would say, Mama, cheer up, man, cheer up, with his fake Jamaican accent. It's so funny. And he would say, it's okay. And I would say to him, Jonathan, I'm struggling. I don't know what to do, you know. And literally from the day that I heard he passed, it's like I heard him say, Mama, man up, man up, push through. And that's what I've done. So I was able to be blessed by this beautiful woman with counseling, business counseling.
What has changed for you personally in life, apart from not having your beloved? What's become more resonant?
To live my life, to actually live, to do whatever I need to do, to attain the goals that I need to get to that dream that I've always had. That dream is to be able to coach and help other women when it comes to self-care. And when I say self-care, I'm not just talking about the nails and the hair and the facials. I'm talking about the health, the mind, the body, the soul aspect of self-care, because it's all a package. And Jonathan really helped me, because he would always say to me, Mama, push through. I
love how he called you Mama. I love that. Yeah, push through.
Because I told him one day, I said, I feel like I'm dying. I feel like I'm fading away. And he goes, no. You're not. You're going to be okay. You just push through. Just keep going. Just like you tell me. Yeah. You keep telling me to push through, Mama. Push through. And I've been pushing through. And he did. Yeah. He did. He pushed through.
And now he's here pushing you. He's pushing you. And as hard as it is to lose your child, you know, you're doing some things in your life that you've been wanting to do, that you've never done before. And now at this stage, this is what you're doing. And it's only... I feel that it's only because of Jonathan having now passed, and it helped you to have to rise out of the ashes and find the courage. Yeah.
And it's not always easy, because there's a lot of underlining pain that I've had to deal with that I had to just kind of almost accept.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't get to sit in front of certain people
Yeah.
to resolve things.
Yeah.
And so you have to come to a place where, okay, God, I do forgive.
Yeah.
And I ask you to take that and do something with it. Let it impact someone's life
Right.
that might be going through what I'm going through.
So tell me about what those things are that you're intending on doing. What does the future look like for Miss Nadine L. Spencer?
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying earlier, I've always wanted to be a self-care coach. Actually, a reformation self-care coach. And that is someone who really helps you with all aspects of self-care. Like I said, it's not just the nails and the face, but it's the mindset. It's even the heart, concept of just your heart. Being able to come into an understanding of who you really are with the good and the bad.
Yep.
And to really come to an even keel ground where you can say, okay, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I really want to live here in truth. No matter what anyone else has to say, this is where I want to live.
So what are those? What is that? When you bring it down to what you're actually doing, what are you going to be doing that's going to help women with that?
I'm actually working on some things. I don't want to.
Okay, you don't want to talk
but I'm
about
working on some things. But just to give you a little taste, just to give you a little taste, right? Like I said earlier, I was very angry, and so I know what it is to help somebody push through that. And the first thing about anger that I learned, and I learned it the hard way, unfortunately, is you gotta admit it. You have to admit that it's there. No, I'm not angry. It's just I was a little pissed off. No, you're angry, girl. And it's deep anger. And if you're not careful, it will show up in your body.
Yep, 100%.
It will show up in your body. And so I really want to work with women to help them with that, but also especially women who have lost a child, but not just lost a child, but lost their identity due to molestation, rape, just trauma. So it's a whole package. So I'll leave
lots
it
of
there.
things happening, and you can continue to. Where can we find you? Because I know you started Jonathan's. What is the cookie?
It's
Instagram?
Jonathan's Sugar Cookies, and it's on Instagram.
Okay, SHONETHAN. Jonathan.
Yeah.
Jonathan's Sugar Cookies.
Yes.
On IG.
Yes.
And then you have a page already, Women's Connection.
A Woman's Connection, but that's actually changing. Once I get that other project I'm working on, then that will change. But I will let you guys know.
And I'll put that. I put all that information up on in the credits, so you'll see all that. Okay, so good. Lots of things happening. I know when we spoke through our goal setting coaching sessions, there's you have a name, and there's things that you are working on right now, and people that you're putting together to help you build.
God has brought
your
people
dreams.
to me to really help me.
So that's
really
good. I'm
blessed.
happy to see you moving forward. I'm going to leave with a few things before we get into a final statement from you, but just some headings of things that families can do, or an individual can do, in order to cope with the sudden death of a child. Stick together. I'm not going to go into details, but everybody knows what these things mean. Stick together as a family. Seek professional help. Accept help. Prepare for after the casseroles are done. This is from Very Well Family Org, so it's not my words, but after the casseroles are done, meaning after everybody's finished coming and bringing you everything and being around you, and you've gone through all the rites and rituals and burying their child. Now what? Right? Continue to see a professional. Find a support group. Pay attention to your health.
Yes.
So key. Avoid negative people. Get everyone back into routines. Stay a family. Some informational websites. Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto. Resources for grieving parents. Sunnybrook.ca. CAMH, so CAMH is the Center for Addiction and Mental Health. That's camh.ca. They have a helpful resource center online for grieving and where to go when you're looking for help. Healthychildren.org. how children understand death and what you should say. Support groups, COPE, COPE. It's an acronym for Connecting Our Paths Eternally. COPE is a nonprofit grief and healing organization dedicated to helping parents and family living with the loss of a child. And then BFO Toronto, Bereaved Families of Ontario, bfotoronto.ca. And then we have the Compassionate Friends, Loss of a Child. It's a Facebook support group, so you can find them that way. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I always add that none of the information here is information that, the resources are resources, and I quoted where they come from. Any of the information, a lot of the information I should say, is coming from our own circumstances, our own experiences, how Nadine deals with hers and how I deal with mine, our own personal experiences. It's not to say that this is how you should deal with it. If you're struggling and if you need support or need help, I need you to seek professional advice and seek the help of a medical professional. Please don't use this information as your holy grail as to how to deal with this. Okay, so just a disclaimer here. I wish everybody good health and support, but this is just to guide you and for you to understand our experiences and how how Nadine has gone through what she's gone through and is coping and how she's getting to a better place. With that being said, Nadine, I want you to look into the camera and share with the audience again how, any words of wisdom, words of advice, something you can share for a parent that has gone through this. And I don't want to ever say, or for a parent that's going to go through this, because we do not want to wish this. Mm-hmm. But God knows that we don't know what tomorrow holds. Yeah. Right? We don't know what tomorrow holds. Only God does. Everybody's plan is set up from the moment they are conceived. And Jonathan is now here in heaven. Well, they're in heaven and watching down on mommy and his siblings and putting things into place that, we know is going to open doors for his loved ones. Mm-hmm. So give some advice or some wisdom.
I would say the first piece of advice I would give is for any mother who has lost a child, be easy on yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't let anyone tell you how you should feel or what you're going to feel, because the truth is it's very different. It is I like to say, a minute by minute journey. And I am very thankful to God I can say now it's day to day. So I've passed the minutes and I'm now days. I would also say, I don't know what your faith is or what you believe in, but even when you're by yourself, even if you just talk out into the atmosphere, just speak. Don't keep anything in. Even if you feel like you can't say it to somebody, open your mouth and say it. I find when I speak, whatever's in here gets released. So you're not carrying more than you need to carry. Mm-hmm. I would also say meditation is great. Self-care, amazing. And when I say self-care, I'm talking about a nice bubble bath. Put your Netflix on, put a girly movie on where you can laugh. Mm-hmm. And just every day at a time. Mm-hmm. But as Natalie said, if you feel you need professional help, or you're not even sure if you need professional help, seek it anyway. Yep. Okay, like I'm seeing a therapist, and I love it because and the reason I chose to see a therapist was because I just wanted to see if there is anything there that maybe I haven't seen. Mm-hmm. That others have seen. So
right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're
thank you. I do, again, I thank you so much for being here and talking about the subject matter.
Thank you.
But at the end of the day, talking about such a beautiful soul can't be so difficult. Mm-mm. You're sharing him with us, and I thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for coming. Thank you for opening up and being honest and very transparent, Nadine.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. As you know, we are women inspiring women, one story at a time. Please like the video if you like it. Share the video if you think it's important for somebody else to hear. And how could this not be? How could you not want to share such testimony? And, once again, if you have a story that you need to share, reach out to me. Let me know. Let's have a chit chat. Go onto my website, highheeldiaries.com. Follow me on Instagram is IG. Facebook, Twitter. to see what else is happening with High Heel Diaries. Okay? You guys have a blessed day. Stay safe. And take care.